Welcome to another edition of Our City. As we approach the July 4th holiday weekend, I hope everyone remains safe and stay away from the firecrackers. On Wednesday, June 29th at 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to attend the summer orientation program in council chambers on the third floor of City Hall. This is where we hire over 400 young people to work throughout different areas in the city of Elizabeth. On honor of Independence Day, keep in mind that City Hall will be closed on Monday, July 4th. In addition, on the 4th, the City of Elizabeth will celebrate Independence Day at the Veterans Memorial Waterfront Park on Front Street. The fireworks show will begin at 8:45 in the evening, and we want to wish everyone a safe and happy July 4th. If you need any more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. Please stay with us after these messages. We'll be back with more of Our City.
Sometimes you learn by helping others learn. Kane University.
Welcome back to Our City, where I'm pleased to be joined by Mr. Elliot D., who is the Program Director at the Snyder Academy of Elizabethtown. Elliot, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for having me.
Now, I've met you a couple of years ago when you started in the Snyder Academy, and you've done, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself before we get into the Snyder Academy.
Sure. Well, I've had a passion for history and the arts and education for many years. I've had the pleasure of working in higher education for 20 years at Harvard and at NYU. And several years ago, I had the pleasure of getting introduced to people at the Snyder Academy. And I had an opportunity to speak with board members who had a vision for the Academy as a vibrant center for the arts, education, history, social services, and economic development in Elizabeth. And I knew this was something that I wanted to be a part of.
Are you a Jersey guy?
I am. I'm originally from South Jersey, but I've lived in North Jersey for the last 22 years.
At Harvard and NYU, what did you teach there?
At the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard, I worked as an administrator. I was the director of the Policy Analysis Exercise Program, which is basically a fieldwork project where students would do a project with a client organization, which might be the World Bank or the Department of Defense or the City of Lynn, Massachusetts Parking Authority. But the idea was for students to get practical experience applying their studies in a real-world setting.
You had some, there's also a new mayor's program that goes through.
Yes,
at the Kennedy School of Government.
Yes.
You didn't work on that program.
I had some connection with people that participated in that program,
right.
And I met some amazing people who came through that program.
So, Ellie, tell us about the Snyder Academy. I mean, a lot of people don't know in Elizabeth what
Sure.
the Snyder Academy is, but the building's been there a long time, and why is it named the Snyder Academy?
The name actually comes from the Snyder family, which was a very prominent industrial family in Elizabeth in the 1800s. And they care very deeply about the future of Elizabeth and also the history of Elizabeth. And so they made a large gift to the First Presbyterian Church in order to make it possible for us to restore the church, the burial grounds, and the parish house, which is now the Snyder Academy, and make it into a vibrant community center. And our mission is really to serve the people of Elizabeth and New Jersey as a vibrant center for the arts, education, and history, and to be a catalyst for economic development in the city.
Tell our viewers where the Snyder Academy is located.
Sure. Most residents probably have driven past it or walked past
Exactly.
it hundreds of times and not even known that it's there. We're on the campus of the First Presbyterian Church of Elizabeth, which is right next to the Union County Courthouse on Broad Street.
And Ellie, you talked about your love of history. I also share a fondness for history.
Sure.
As you know, we've chatted on occasion. Tell us about the history of the Snyder Academy.
Well, the Snyder Academy has a truly extraordinary history. It is literally the place where New Jersey was established. In 1664, it is the spot where the first settlers came and established the first religious congregation, the first community center,
which was
the first school.
Of the Presbyterian faith, I believe, as well, right?
Well, originally it was established actually as a non-denominational church.
It was, okay.
The original settlers were really Puritans, but then Jonathan Dickinson, who was the leading theologian in the early 1700s, he actually affiliated the church with the Presbyterian denomination. And since that time, since the early 1700s, it's been an active and dynamic Presbyterian church.
And there's more history to this stuff. I'm not going to let you stop there.
No, there's so much to share. So there are many firsts for the site. Not only is it the place where New Jersey was established, not only is it the place where the first religious congregation was established, it's actually the place where Princeton University was started. It actually was started originally in the church as a Presbyterian college. Many colleges at the time were affiliated with a religious group of one type. Princeton was established as a Presbyterian college in the 1700s. The Academy of Elizabethtown, which was one of the leading secondary schools in America, attracted students from all over the colonies, and in fact, attracted students from all over the world. One of the early students at the Academy was Alexander Hamilton. He arrived in 1772 in order to further his studies. He followed Aaron Burr, who just finished his studies when Hamilton arrived. I've told people many times, I think if they had spent a little time together at the Academy, maybe the fortunes of both of them would have been a little more amicable together. As you know, the two of them met in 1804 and had a very unfortunate duel. I think if they had spent time together as students together at the Academy, maybe things would have been a little different.
History does not show them meeting at the Snyder Academy, though, right? The history shows them meeting further on during the Revolutionary times.
Exactly, yeah. They both had a lot of roots in Elizabeth. They both had large networks, personal networks and professional networks in Elizabeth, but they didn't actually meet each other as students at the Academy.
What kinds of programs do you offer for the community now at the Snyder Academy?
We have a range of programs, and I'm very proud to say that the programs that we offer are free to the public. And they're meant to really serve the community in a variety of ways.
I went to a lecture on the spies.
The spies networks.
The spies
yeah,
network.
That was amazing. We were very fortunate to have historian Damien Cregot, who came. He did a wonderful lecture and presentation on spy networks. During the Revolutionary War, there were many very influential spy networks that were based in Elizabeth. He talked about that, shared some of that history with people. But we've had many other programs as well. Every year for 4 Centuries in a Weekend, which takes place in October, we have a wonderful reenactment of the Battle of Elizabethtown, which was one of the important battles fought in New Jersey. During that battle, unfortunately, the original Presbyterian Church was burned by the British. But I can tell you that the British didn't make it a habit to burn churches when they traveled through the colonies, but they did make it a point to burn down the First Presbyterian Church. And the reason for that is because of the influence that the church had on the revolutionary cause. James Caldwell, who was the minister of the church, was one of the leaders in the revolutionary effort.
Who was also killed.
And his wife.
Yeah.
Exactly, Hannah Caldwell. So there's just a fascinating history there. But we have other programs besides our history programs. We have a very rich arts set of programs at the Academy. We've had, for example, the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra come and do concerts on our stage. Rafael Rodriguez, who is our artist in residence, has a wonderful studio on the second floor of the building.
Fascinating. I've seen some of his work.
Yes, he's a very gifted artist, also an extraordinary teacher, and he regularly exhibits not only his work, but the work of many of the students that come to study at the Academy. We also have had singers who have come, singers from the Metropolitan Opera for our Sunday serenades. We have art exhibits which show the work of students from various schools in Elizabeth. This October, for example, we're going to have a wonderful exhibit of work from students from Lafayette School. Later this month, actually, we're going to have a small exhibit of work from Jefferson Arts Academy. So in lots of different ways, we want to showcase the work of artists in Elizabeth, and we want to be a catalyst for the arts in the city.
So, L.A., tell me about upcoming events and specifically the Celebrate Hamilton program.
Yes.
And any other events you may have.
Yeah,
coming.
we're really excited about Celebrate Hamilton, and we hope people in the community will come for this. This, I think, is a wonderful way for people to learn about this extraordinary history of the city of Elizabeth. Alexander Hamilton was one of our key seminal figures in the 1700s, had this huge network of contacts in Elizabeth. Most people know about his time when he was an aide to General Washington and later President Washington. The focus of this program will really be on his early years in Elizabeth. So Michael Newton, who is the leading scholar on Alexander Hamilton, he's coming out to share information from his newest book, which is Alexander Hamilton, The Formative Years. That'll be one of the lectures that we're going to offer. But we're going to have a mix of things. Programs will start at 10 in the morning and we'll go all the way until 10 o'clock at night. And as I say, we're going to have a mix of things for people depending on their interests. So for example, we'll have a program called Hamilton 101, which is kind of a crash course, everything you might want to know about the life and legacy of Alexander Hamilton. We're going to offer that in both English and Spanish at different times. English at 10, Spanish at 11 at the Snyder Academy. We'll be having our presentation by historian Michael Newton at 12. And then in the afternoon, I'm really excited to share that we will have a conversation with John Rua. John is an Elizabeth native, born and raised, and a very gifted singer, dancer, choreographer, and actor. He's a member of the ensemble of the play Hamilton, the hit Broadway sensation. And he's going to come to talk to us about his life, his work as an artist, his experience in the play Hamilton, and he also is going to talk to us about how Hamilton has inspired him as an artist and as a young man.
So the front yard of Midtown, tell us about
Yeah, that's a new initiative that we have. We're going to be starting that later this summer. The first program will be on July 30th, which is a Saturday. And the idea is we have this wonderful green space, which is between the Snyder Academy on the corner of Broad and Caldwell and the First Presbyterian Church. It's actually this beautiful lawn space. And we really want to turn that into an active showplace for activities in the Elizabeth community, particularly in the Midtown area. So over time, we intend to develop a number of different programs. We're going to start with a musical showcase. So we intend to have a number of different musical groups, musical artists who will come and share their talents with the Elizabeth community. Down the road, we intend to have art exhibits there. We want to also have movie nights. We want to have other activities that allow people to showcase their talents and share that with the broader community.
Elliot, can residents get involved in the Academy?
Oh, we would love to have people. We'd love to have people get connected and get involved. We have an active advisory committee. It's a wonderful group of people that represent many of the different communities in Elizabeth. We're always looking for new people to be a part of that advisory committee. We're going to have our annual Snyder Academy Awards program in October, which recognizes outstanding people in Elizabeth for their accomplishments in different areas. And we'd love to have people help us with that event.
How about tours, Elliot? How does that?
We have tours as well, yes. So if you are interested to learn more about the church or the cemetery or the Snyder Academy, we do different kinds of tours. We have tours for jurors, which are short 20-minute tours.
Oh, that'd be great. Be
Absolutely.
a juror and come in and see a tour. Because they're probably always asking what's over there.
Exactly. Exactly. We have longer tours. We also have tours for school children. And in fact, we're working with the school board right now on developing a number of different types of tours that would be focused on the social studies curriculum for kids in the Elizabeth Public
What's the
Schools.
connection between the Academy and the First Presbyterian Church?
Yeah, so the Academy actually is the old parish house, and it was restored in recent years and made into this vibrant community center. The church is a separate entity. The Old First Historic Trust is the organization that oversees the Snyder Academy and also maintains the buildings, grounds, and property. But the church itself is separate and different and is run by the Presbytery of Elizabeth.
Elliot, I want to thank you for taking the time, but I also want to thank you for your vision for the Snyder Academy.
Thank you.
And actually creating something that Elizabeth has not had for years. Maybe a century or two, the historical impact that we've had in our nation, you're bringing it out. And we really thank you for that.
Thank you, and I want to thank you for your leadership, Mayor. You have been an incredible supporter of education, history, and the arts in Elizabeth, and we're very grateful.
I'm going to be there on July 8th. I look forward to the lecture and meeting
Thank you.
some of the guy from the cast of the Hamilton show.
Yeah, it's going to be an extraordinary day.
It is. For Elliot D., please stay with us after these messages. We're back with more of Our City.
We're an American original, dependable, historic, nuanced, with all the comforts of home, even when you're just visiting. So we're celebrating for all that we've left untouched and all that we've changed. A place where the past meets the future. So consider this your invitation.
We've been celebrating here in Elizabeth for 350 years, and we're just getting started.